We are so proud of him. He's at a very important meeting. He is part of the Sunshine Cyber Conference at a roundtable discussion. And so I'm Felice Flake. I'm the program manager. This is Vanya, and I'm going to massacre the pronunciation of her last name because I've not had enough coffee.
Tsetkova.
She is our events coordinator. And this is our wonderful panel of 502 students and professionals. And I would ask each of them to introduce themselves, and then we'll come back to them and have some great discussion after we go through a few slides. No death by PowerPoint today.
Yeah, hi everybody. I think I'm loud enough. Good afternoon,
Louder,
everyone.
louder.
My name's Dalton Crabtree. I'm a doctoral research student at USF. I also work at HSB, which is a cyber insurance company, in my role within 502. Other than conducting research and publication efforts, I run all of our background checks and collaborate on compliance and policy efforts.
No.
Hi everybody, my name is Noe Hodgson, or known as Calypso on our server. I am the 502 team's CTF team lead. I help run events in the CTF server, and I also run our in-house CTF team in Valid Response that is currently competing in NCL at the moment.
Hi everyone, I'm Liliana. I'm an electrical engineering student at USF. I run the action team, which is our undergraduate and high school group, and they kind of do work around the 502 project with anything like aid that people need help with.
Hi, I'm Alyssa. I'm in 10th grade in high school, and what I do is I create CTFs for the Discord server.
My name is Gabriel Edwards, and I am on Noe's CTF team. And I also help tag challenges with KSTs, so the help function works on our server.
Okay, how many of you know every acronym that the panel just said to us? Okay, so NCL, Noe.
NCL is National Cyber League. They're currently hosting a competition called, or a CTF competition, which is also known as Capture the Flag. The goal right now is to help get more students into cybersecurity by giving them gamified versions of things they may do in real life.
Excellent. Oliana, any acronyms?
I don't think I actually used it.
Okay. Okay. Alyssa, what is a CTF to you? When you say a challenge? Describe what a challenge is.
So basically, a Capture the Flag challenge is where we create a challenge for you using either code, pictures, programs, and so on, so that way you can solve them, meaning that you have to find them through either the code, the picture, whatever the challenge is, and then you type out the flag and you submit it, or you can go through a competition through it.
Excellent. And what are KSTs, Gabe?
KSTs are knowledge, skills, and tasks. These are work role assigned and are knowledge, skills, and tasks that you would have. Our help function on the server takes the KSTs tagged on the challenge and connects you to a mentor of similar KSTs for them to assist you.
Excellent, thank you. Everybody feel better about the acronym soup? A little bit? Okay, I want to start this off by saying, if there's an acronym, because we get excited and we're talking, that you don't know, I challenge you to raise your hand and say acronym, okay? So this is going to be interactive presentation. How many of you are in cybersecurity, working in cybersecurity? Okay, and how many of you are students? Well, she's in it. Okay. How many of you see yourself as working in cybersecurity and also as a student? Okay. One of the key things as some of you contemplate entering the cybersecurity profession or anything that goes along with it is that you are always a student. You are constantly learning. You're going to be a lifelong learner. So today we're going to talk about the 502 project. How many of you stopped by the booth? I know I recognize a couple of faces. Okay. So the 502 project was founded by Dr. Fisk. And Dr. Nathan Fisk, and we would add another hour to talk about his accomplishments within cybersecurity and what he's done for our community and what he does to bring the community together and strengthen it. This is our, what's that, a web address? Is that right? Yeah, that's the web address. So if you are interested in joining, how many of you are under 18? Just a few, okay. For you all to join, we would also need your parents to sign an acceptable use policy document for you to join. We encourage you, if they have any questions, please see me after, and I'll give you my email address so that they can reach out to me, and I'm happy to talk with them, email with them, and just help them understand what the program's all about. So those of you who are over 18, we have just happily removed the requirement for a video that you have to view, so you have to do the acceptable use policy. You can decide to go with the background check if you're gonna be working with the under 18 students, or go ahead and select it, and then you're part of the entire community. Okay, this is a watershed moment, and what really led to just this amazing idea on the part of Dr. Fisk. This is Alex Stamos, and he was the chief security officer with Facebook. So back in 2017, how many of you have heard of the Black Hat Conference in Las Vegas? Okay, it's a pretty big deal cybersecurity conference. And what, I'm not gonna read the slide to you because all of you all can read it, but really the gist of what he said was that he came up in the ranks as a hacker. So as you mature, you know, money's good, you wanna support yourself and your family. And what he saw was that there was gatekeeping within our community. And so he wants to address that and change it. So these communities can nurture talent, community challenges us, and community can create common languages and goals. So the term hacker can sometimes have a negative connotation. We encourage you to read this book. This is a #1 reading recommendation by Dr. Fisk. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the hacker ethic. So how many of you have ever heard of that? Anybody? Yeah, he's hands. Okay, so always yield to the hands-on imperative. All information should be free, mistrust authority, and promote decentralization. Hackers should be judged by their hacking, not bogus criteria such as degrees, age, race, or position. And you can create art and beauty on a computer, and computers can change your life for the better. Okay, next slide. Okay, everybody see me? Everybody can see me? Does that look like me? Do I look like a cyberpunk? No. I'm happily a mom. I'm happily in the cybersecurity profession, but this can be a good and bad thing. So a few years ago, I was at a conference and I'm listening to some very young, inexperienced hackers talk about something they did, and I'm looking around at the other people around me and nobody's saying, that's illegal. So they see me, right? They don't think I should know anything, right? I'm just a mom. I'm probably a school teacher, God forbid. And I said, that's illegal. And their heads kind of whipped around like, how does she know that? So this aesthetic is super cool, right? But it does not encompass our entire community. So if you see everybody on the panel, does anybody look alike? That's a trick question. Does anybody at the front of this room look alike? Everybody looks different, but we can still all be cyberpunks, right? Now, with that thought in mind, if you saw me walking through a building, would you feel threatened? Would you be worried? So in cybersecurity, I could be a great pen tester, right? I could have already been a pen tester. You know what a pen tester is? Okay. Anybody know back there? Do y'all know what a penetration tester is?
Maybe a pen tester or red team?
Oh, that's a great question. Dave, have y'all heard of red team? Okay.
You know the difference?
Yeah, Dave, please share.
I'm asking, so who doesn't know the difference between a red team and a pen tester? So pen testers are gonna typically do it from a remote location. They're just gonna test certain things. Red team's about testing every layer of security that an organization has. And they work in teams in a conjunct effort to do it. So someone like her, actually, if you go to Black Hills Information Security, they got a whole cartoon about it with, John Strand's mom, the Rita app, but
Oh, well, I'll
how
have to go
using
look
her
at that.
on pen tests on a red team engagement. So she was able to do a facade, get in, get the intel needed for the rest of the team to compromise an organization.
See? So you never know. So don't judge a book by its cover, right? Thank you for that explanation. Next slide, yeah. Okay, so this is a powerful graphic. So when you look at this, and the title is What Happened to Women in Computer Science. I graduated in 1980 something. So when you look at this graph and you see that the uptick for computer science, when it hits about 85, 86, you see the trend line go down. So a couple of things happened during that time. Computers became more commercial, right? They wanted to market it to young men. They were marketing it to wealthy white executives and to boys and men. So when you hear that, and there's no judgment there, this is just what they did in the marketing, right? So what we, and I'm a Gen Xer, right? What we heard was, oh, that's not for you, right? That's just for the guys, right? So this trend line, and you see that it's starting to creep back up, right? Just a little, just a little. Next slide, please. Okay, so Cybersecurity Ventures did this study, and the goal right now is to have 30% of cybersecurity workforce be women by 2025. They want to really go out there and try to make it 35% by 2030. That's it. So what happens when you don't have a group of people that think differently? Y'all know the parable, the story about the elephant? Like, there could be three of us that are blindfolded, walk up to an elephant, and we put our hands on the elephant, and one of us could feel the ear, one of us could feel the tail, one of us could feel the trunk. So we each bring different perspectives, and it's so needed with cybersecurity. It's critical to that, to managing things within that scope, within that sector, because you have to think differently. And you need to also think in a way, like always being a student, that you want to be a student of the people around the table with you, because they're going to bring perspectives and insights that you may not have thought about. Okay, so we're partnered. 502 Project is partnered with multiple universities. We've got private partners. But really what it started, to give you a little bit of history, was with the high school camp. And what happened for Dr. Fisk and the team is that he would have kids come to the high school camp. They would love the high school camp and not have any apparatus between summers to actually communicate and stay connected. So what ends up happening is that they kind of got lost. One of the greatest stories was one of the young women students. She comes up to Dr. Fisk and she's like giddy and beside herself, and she says, "Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you again." And he said, "Oh, great." She goes, "I had to come back to cyber camp." And he goes, "Oh, do you remember what you learned last year?" She goes, "No, I don't care about that. I just wanted to see you." So it's the community piece, but you also want to make sure that you're retaining that information and knowledge. Next slide, please. So for safety and compliance, and for those of you who want to go home and pitch this to your parents, hint, hint, there's an emphasis for our team that we keep everybody safe, that we make sure everything within the Discord server is monitored and tracked. We don't want anything unsafe happening, and that's across the board. That's not just for the minors, that's for everybody on our Discord server. Okay. We have subject matter experts. Acronym alert. Have any of you heard SMEs before? Right? Okay, subject matter experts, and we have mentors and recruiters. And you see this great logo is from the Neon Temple, and they're a great partner to the 502 project. It's an incredible group of cybersecurity professionals and hackers that we absolutely adore, and they give us so much information and insight and guidance and support on 502. And yeah, so we have virtual events. We have events that are not just geared towards you as the student. We have the CTF, the Capture the Flag, but just recently we had an event where the panel talked about the future of cybersecurity work. And we had a woman from Boston who is nationally renowned as a recruiter and what her firm does. We had another woman from San Francisco, and we had recruiters from the Southeast region as well. And the person facilitating that panel is a former CISO with the CDC who has his own firm now. The challenge engine. We're gonna skip this for right now because we're gonna talk a little bit, we're gonna make sure the students get a chance and to really talk that up. Okay, so if you wanna join, right? Go ahead and go to 502project.org and go ahead and sign up. If you have any trouble with the sign up, my address, if y'all wanna write this down, at USF is flakef@usf.edu. We had a couple of things come back that some of our folks that have tried to join in the last month or so, for some reason they weren't going to the very bottom of the form, and so it wasn't submitting correctly. So if y'all run into any issue, or if you haven't heard or gotten a confirmation email, please email me and we'll help you. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's Flake, like snowflake, f@usf.edu. Oh, of course. Yes.
So you're saying after, because I did fill that out after a meeting I had with you guys, but I never got a confirmation email, so something went.
We will have to get with me afterwards and let's make sure that we're tracking that. And that it's not just lost in the ether somewhere. So yeah, we'll definitely check that.
But you're saying I should have gotten, that's what I was asking.
Yeah,
I should have
when you
gotten
complete the
confirmation.
form, you need, you will receive the Discord invite link. But if you
Okay.
did not
Oh, I
see
did get a
that-
Discord invite, yeah, okay, never mind, I got the link.
Yeah,
Yes.
so,
Okay.
so if you got that, you're all good.
Okay.
Okay, good. Oh, good. Okay, stop that.
Well, I did it when there still was a video up. I watched the video.
Yeah, that's right. We made you go through that pain, right? Didn't we? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the panel portion of the presentation today. And what I would like to do is I'm gonna ask a couple of questions of the panelists. And just have them share insights on what the 502 Project community has meant to them. And the positive aspects of helping one another, and then what it's done for them personally. So Dalton, drum roll please, you're on the spot.
Yeah, okay, no, absolutely. Yeah, so 502, I've been a member of 502 for about a year now. You know, when I started at USF in my doctoral program, my mentor introduced me to Dr. Fisk. Admittedly, I didn't really know who I was meeting and what I was getting into, but shortly after acclimating and learning Discord, as a late 20-year-old, admittedly, like I learned that this is definitely a visionary experience for me. So being able to contribute to 502 directly and creating a safe community, I run all the background checks for our adults in the room, and contributing, again, as I mentioned, to policy and procedure has been great, and meeting the folks here on the team has been awesome personally for me and this experience. So in my role in the business side of cyber, right, working in cyber insurance, we have a lot of business people that I think speculate and try to create some gaps in understanding of what cybersecurity really is without admittedly knowing what they're talking about. So 502 has been a great way as I'm on my own individual journey to just position myself better, to be a better business person and inform what people outside of the technical side of cyber think.
How about you?
Okay, so I am one of the original members of the 502 Project, and I met Dr. Fisk when I was just a camper at Cyber Camp after my 9th grade year in high school. I was one of the students who kept trying to reach out to everybody throughout the year. If you ask anybody, I was pinging everybody saying, I want to make an event. And that eventually led Fizz to ask me in my 11th grade year to come on as someone who was hosting events. Eventually this led up to me making my own CTF team, and at first it was just running around saying, hey, DEF CON is doing this CTF competition online and they're not checking if you're actually registered for DEF CON, so let's just do this and not tell anybody. We ended up placing in the top 100. And Fizz saw that, and he told me eventually to make my CTF team in the 502 server, and the rest is history.
That's great. And so, just for the audience, when you talk about the CTF team, the Capture the Flag team, so tell us about the logistics of what that means. Like, how often do you meet?
Right.
Is everybody welcome, even if they're not a member of the team? Are they welcome to come in and learn?
Heck yeah. Yes, we love having people who are outside of our team come and learn with us, because we also get to see how other teams function. I don't believe in having to create this polarizing idea that we are going against each other and we are all enemies, because no matter what, after the competition, we're all going to end up in the same workforce and we're all going to end up bumping into each other at one point or another.
Yes.
So why should we create such a polarizing idea of each other from now? So we meet every Tuesday night at
7 our time.
7
ET.
7 Eastern Standard Time, 6 Central Time, and 4 California time.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Noe. Oleana, how about you?
Yeah, so I met Fisk through actually a club I built at USF, and he actually asked me to come and join the team. And there I built the action team, which is our undergraduate team and our high school team, and they help out with building development work for the 502 project, building out CTFs, as well as eventually helping out doctoral students like Dalton with their research. And it helps them gain experience, because I know a lot of the students who are in college right now or in high school, they need experience and they're looking for those skills. So this is where they can actually gain them. And it's really a maximum of 5 hours a week where they can practice and they come and contribute to our meetings. We have our meetings on Friday at 6, and it's really a place where they can get those skills to put on their resume, and we can connect them further on when they're ready for their big opportunities, and we'll connect them with individuals. And actually one of our action team members is Alyssa here. Would you like to tell them what you've done so far?
Sure. What I've done so far are CTFs, or Capture the Flags. So far, I've created only one since I just started a few days ago for it, but I've created 8 lists for what I believe will be a good idea for it. But what I have created so far is one CTF, but the other one I'm working on will be an encryption inside of a photo, and then people will have to go through HexWalk, 7-zip, or binwalk, some other ones that you can use in order to find the text file inside of the photo and find the flag in there.
Can you explain what those are?
Yes, so binwalk, you can use that to, it's like an encryption type of application. So you can extract things from pictures, files, etc. Same thing with 7-zip. I'm sure many of you know what that is. And
I know. I know.
Yeah. And there's a few more applications you can use to grab the data from it, but those are some popular ones that a lot of people use.
Thank you, Alyssa. And Alyssa has been working so hard this week on the challenges, so we're excited to have her on the team. Gabe, how about you?
So, like Noe, I got my start at Cyber Camp. Noe introduced me to Dr. Fisk and moved in, and I'm able to move in as an intern. So this has been great, being able to connect with mentors practically 24/7, get help, answers. They've been guiding me along and are helping me in my path I'm graduating high school this semester, and before going into college, I should have hopefully my Cisco CCST and TCM's PJPT.
Okay,
That's
I'm gonna
all
do
thanks to
acronym.
the Cisco.
What's that certification? What are those certifications, I should say?
The Cisco Certified Support Technician
Mhm.
and the Practical Junior Penetration Tester from TCM.
Excellent.
And I was able to do that through the help and mentorship of those in the 502.
Outstanding, thank you. All right, before we go to the next question, how many of you are familiar with Discord, have been on Discord, somewhat familiar? Okay. Full disclosure, I got real familiar with Discord about 5 months ago. I had I fell in love with it quickly through a week of hate, okay? So if you need to complain, find me on Discord, and my handle is Flakes. If you have any questions, let me know. It's once you get in it, you become, it's just like learning any platform, that you're gonna get more comfortable. And if you do have questions, seriously, all kidding aside, please reach out, say, what the heck does this mean? How do I do this? And we're here to help you, right, team?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
No, we're gonna leave you at the float.
And then we have command lines for conversations. Next time.
That's because direct messages are not
Yes, yes.
allowed. We didn't mention that, so we don't allow direct messages, and instead we have a command for that.
Right.
That way, conversations can be safe and monitored.
Thank you for that.
And commands to report anything out of the ordinary whenever you need help.
Yeah, and that's all hands on deck for the leadership team. This is just a sampling of some of the events. You see Noe's team, sorry, Invalid Response CTF meeting, the Cyber Launch competition. Were any of you at the Cyber Launch event in Orlando? Oh, yeah. And so then we had the Palm Beach State College Cybersecurity Symposium. Was it last week? Last week, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and we have Avi representing Palm Beach State. So we're happy to have him.
Whole area.
Oh, great, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
So with that in mind, since this is a little different, anything that y'all could share with the audience about what you see in 502?
Yeah,
And what it's done
sure.
for the community? Yeah, Avi, go ahead.
I'll stand there so I can
Yeah,
project in
yeah.
the right direction.
Yeah.
So we were introduced to the 502 project we're a group of students from Palm Beach State College. And so we're not close to Tampa, we drove all the way here for this event, it's not too bad. But we were connected to the 502 project through, I actually don't know how we were connected. It just seemed like it popped out of nowhere.
Elliot.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Elliot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and Dr. Fisk, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
so
how
they connected, but it was such a
initially
fluid transaction that
Yeah,
it
yeah,
never
yeah.
was a formal, this is something, it was
Right.
just, let's jump on the ground rolling. But
Yeah.
what's really cool is that we get to, the four of us here are actually in the Ethical Hackers Club. And when we do presentations or when we do have our meetings, we can live stream them on Discord through the 502 project. We run we run a Discord server for our club as well. And so we can live stream them on both. When we had our cybersecurity symposium last week, we had 8 hours worth of content. We had guest speakers, industry professionals, student demonstrations, professors gave speeches. We were able to stream those to the 502 project. So it's not necessarily about just, yes, okay, cool, now more people can get access to it, but it was bridging that gap for people that weren't able to attend, for people that may not have as much interest yet, and they wanted to get more interest. I work in the industry as well, and yesterday I had one of my interns here, and he heard about the 502 project, and he was here just to discover cybersecurity, and he's like, I want to learn more about it, and I'm like, if you have any curiosities about what cybersecurity might be, or different ways you can participate, or different things you can learn, the 502 project has such a vast amount of connections and information. The challenge engine that you're going to go over soon, these things just help bridge the gap between people that know everything about cybersecurity and people that know nothing about cybersecurity. and make sure that we can continue growing the next generation of cybersecurity professionals and make sure that the future of cybersecurity for our world is successful and secure.
Thank you, Ami. And that is Dr. Fizz. That's a photo, right? That looks like a photograph, right? No, that's Dr. Fizz. It has his email address as well, and then of course our web address. What I'd like to do is go back to the panel and just to let you know, Dalton was having a great time. He's actually doing a ransomware demonstration, and his talk is at 3. So he had to excuse himself. So I didn't want y'all to think he was running from the room.
We scared him away.
So what I'd like to do is start with you, Gabe, and have you talk about the challenge engine. Because you're doing so much work, you've done such a tremendous job with attaching the KSTs to it. So can you tell the audience about the challenge engine?
Yeah. So our challenge engine is CTFD. It's 24/7. We host.
What? Oh, CTFD. What's CTFD?
CTFD. That's the platform that we host our challenges on. So we use basically their infrastructure.
Okay.
So we have 30 challenges? Growing exponentially?
Right. I think because it's gonna go to 40.
Yay, that's right.
Plus,
So-
that's not counting the old ones we have from CyberCamp on there.
Yeah.
So let's just say 60.
Yep, but more on the way. So what we plan to do with that is we have our challenges. They are previously, I believe it was on a previous slide, they are nice.
Mm-hmm.
They're the nice framework. We use those KSTs. They're tagged to challenges. We tag organization and author as well, so they get credit. And then it's put out there. If you're, I believe we have, I think we have an RIT one out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's tagged RIT, giving credit to that school.
And just to kind of break it down a little bit more for workforce development. So for example, my main concentration on my consulting firm is governance, risk, and compliance. So if there's a challenge out there on our challenge engine that's specific to risk management, to governance, to a compliance, anything to do with a regulation or a policy, that we have tagged that and it matches up to the government mandated KSTs. Gabe, KST?
Knowledge, skills, tasks.
Yes. So that that, okay, this is, if you find that challenge interesting, you may figure out that you're more interested in a particular profession within cybersecurity that you did not know would interest you. The other thing that we're doing is we're setting up a bot that is going to be smart enough that if it sees, you keep going to these governance, risk, and compliance challenges, would you like to talk to a subject matter expert about that? Would you like to talk to the challenge developer about that? And we're big, and this is important for you all in the audience to know. The 502 project is not about taking any of your work, any of Noe's work, any of Alyssa's work, Oleana, Gabe's. We want everybody to get credit. That if you author something, if you produce something, Vanya, with her incredible experience, if she authors something, we want that credit given. That's very important to us. Also for the user, for those of you, how many of you have certifications? For continuing ed, the 502 project is unbelievably valuable. You have to get your continuing ed hours to maintain your certifications. ISACA, ISC squared, all of these certifying bodies, Cisco, right? You can get a continuing ed hour for mentoring, you can get a continuing ed hour for attending an event, right? But instead of going to just a death by PowerPoint, go watch a talk that's a little more engaging than that. Go participate with learning challenges. stepping out of your comfort zone, right? So keep that in mind as you're trying to get continuing ed, that there's a different resource for you to go to with 502. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody have questions for us? Yes?
Why 502?
That's a great
sure
question.
started with
Yeah, we
that.
buried the lead. It means bad gateway.
So
Yeah.
502 is the actual error.
Yes,
That's the
yes,
error code of
the
it.
error code, it means, yeah,
From HTML?
Yep.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's, the idea is that because it's a bad gateway, we're trying to bridge the gap and replace the bad gateway with a good gateway.
Yeah.
So we're working on fixing 502 errors.
There you go, yes.
403.
Forbidden.
Any other questions? Yes.
And so I've been a mentor for Cyber Patriot for about
Yeah.
4 years.
Absolutely,
And,
yeah.
one thing I noticed is here at the school, right now I'm doing it with, or actually for the past couple of years, it's been with Riverview High School.
Yeah.
And when they first started out, it's one kid, now it's a bunch of kids, right? And it has to be folks that are in JROTC, which kind of sucks, but it's also really nice because you end up getting a lot of kids in there because they don't want to drill, they want to be part of the drill team, or they don't want
Interesting,
to do
okay.
other stuff, so they're like, well, I guess
Right.
I'll do Cyber Patriot. However, I've noticed that a lot when I'm talking to the instructor, right, a bunch of the Cyber Patriot teams out there, the JROTCs, they do not have mentors at all. And I think that's an opportunity for really anyone that wants to be a technical mentor to get involved.
That's
But
great
on the other-
suggestion.
So that's just a plug for Cyber Patriot.
Right, yeah, oh, no, we
Right.
welcome that, we welcome that.
But I'd like to,
Yeah.
if possible, link up with you to get
Yes.
someone to come talk about the 502 project with them, because I think when they're sitting in there and I'm trying to teach them, 16 years of, I'm active duty Air Force, trying to
Yeah.
teach them my side of cybersecurity, right?
Right.
It's highly defensive, but they did go to cyber launch, they did some offensive stuff, like, I'm
Mhm.
weak at that. And I really want to see someone who's not 34 years old come and talk to them about, what could be next for them after high school, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
I think, I can talk about one thing, but you all can potentially connect them.
That's an excellent suggestion, and,
We'd be happy to.
yes, please, let's share contact
Value, value.
information, yeah. And, because we have veterans that are supporting us too, and I see one right now that would be a phenomenal speaker to that. Because you want both, right?
Absolutely, and then the other piece of it, right, is during the summer, like, I didn't know about the cyber camp and all that stuff. I really just
Yeah.
want to link these kids up with that.
Oh,
I see
we're
them come
happy
in,
to.
They're like, what's a keyboard? And then at the end, I would be glad to have them in like my SOC as junior
Oh,
analysts.
what a
So,
great compliment. Yeah, and it's important, and you raised a good point. We want more teachers. I know that we've talked to several school districts, but what happens is, if they don't, kind of like what we're talking about with you and finding more mentors, if they don't know the resources there, and if they feel pressured, like it's another thing on their plate, but this is a place for them to come, and if they, if they're trying to build a lesson plan, that we have resources for that. If they build a lesson plan, we wanna make sure that they get credit for that and share on a wider scope with the community. So yes, definitely, and we'll talk after.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's great. Any other questions for our panel and our team?
Actually, I was gonna add.
Oh, yeah.
Your mentor was Cyber Patriot, but Alex, who I was hanging out with yesterday,
Yeah.
she actually is a Northrop Grumman. She used to head Cyber Patriot.
That's right,
in
yeah.
Asia, so.
I think linking the two would be really great.
Yes.
Because they're missing a lot of, I've seen this at now 2 schools, but they're missing a lot of challenges, a lot of capture the flag stuff outside of the competition of Cyber Patriot, right? They get a finite amount of time to go use those VMs and images and all that stuff. So if those two things could get linked up, I just think it's a great opportunity for everyone.
It's excellent, and I'm glad you mentioned Alex. One of the things that we've come up against, just full disclosure, and I know that I've talked about it with a couple of teachers, is that the school districts will oftentimes block Discord from the network. So if we can have an internal ally that's helping us get that request through, to their network team, like saying, this is, this group, only this, you know how we would have to do it, but help us coordinate that.
Gotcha.
So that to give them the full benefit of Discord. So when you're there mentoring them at school, right, you're doing it,
Yes,
it's not
right.
just online, right?
Yeah, I go there, usually during the competitions 3 days a week, 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm in there.
Oh, wow.
Trying to teach sleepy teenagers. Hard system.
But if we can partner on that, and this is for the whole room too, that if you want us as a resource, we're happy to help explain how closely monitored our server is. General counsel at USF and every university and college that we're partnered with has reviewed our compliance. I mean, just let you know, anybody on this panel will tell you I'm big into risk management and compliance. So that would reassure some of the network folks at the districts.
Yeah, but it's still open Discord, right, on the system? Maybe getting it open on the web level might be an easier ask than the application itself.
I'd have to test it out, but the good thing about these JROTCs as an entry point, right, is that one thing I have noticed, just the gatekeeping issues, right? Half the team that I've got right now it's half females, and it was the same at the last school I was at. Like, you get a lot of diversity within these teams, but to the networking side,
thank y'all.
They get their own money, they get their own laptops that they're able to not use the school image if they don't have to. Or sorry, they don't have to use the school image. So it's highly controllable within those JROTCs.
Well then, let's definitely link up out
That's right.
Any other questions from the audience?
I wanted to chime in more about the challenge engine, because I think they're being a little too humble about it. So what's cool about, everyone that's participating in CTF challenges of any kind, you usually have to sign up for a different website, you have to do something else, you have to set up your VMs, you have to set up the network infrastructure, you have to, especially for a student body or a group of people, you have to set up a pretty decent amount of infrastructure to support these CTF challenges for an event. What's cool about the challenge engine is that it's integrated into Discord. So if you can download the Discord application, or you can go to the Discord website and you can load Discord and log in, you get access to the challenge engine, and they're just simple / commands to see what the challenges are, submit your answers, get the questions, see how many points you have, rank up in the server itself, and can compete with other students or other people within the organization. So yes, there's going to be challenges that you might need a Linux box, or you might need some tools to figure out and answer, but you don't need the typical amount of infrastructure to say, hey students, go figure out all of the OSINT challenges in 502 and go about, right? Because if they're already there, they're already existing, you already have access to the Discord server, you're already in there, and then as they do those and maybe they're struggling, they can just ask for help, and a professional can, or a SME can come and help them out and guide them to guide them across that and teach them some proper procedures in figuring out that kind of challenge. So like in the with the Ethical Hackers Club, we're competing in the NCL, the National Cyber League competition hosted by Cyber Skyline, and as the students are learning the different challenges in the gymnasium or in the practice sessions, they might not know every single way to get an answer. So for us, it's like, okay, we have a Discord channel and we're talking about it, but then because we don't have it built in, it's like, okay, let's figure out when we can set up a meeting and hop on Zoom or Discord or Teams or whatever it is. And let's figure out this scheduling conflict. It's never just like, hey, who's available to help me out? I don't care who it is, I just need some guidance. And then at the moment that someone's available, they can just be like, hey, you're looking at A instead of B. Guide your thought process towards this route. And then that teaches them like, oh, okay, there's multiple ways to do this, there's multiple paths to the same place, and then they can go down the correct route and figure out the answer to the challenge. So I think it's a phenomenal process, so props to you guys for making it happen.
Thank you all. Thank you for that. He just reminded me, I had a great conversation with 2 county employees, I won't say which county, that they are kind of being like, hey, you're now cybersecurity people. and they don't have experience in that area. And so when I was talking to them, I said, and that's what a lot of people, when you think of 502, think of it as a melting pot, because you've got students all the way up to virtual CISOs, which is Chief Information Security Officer. You've got all these practitioners with incredible experience that truly, at the very heart of it, want to share their knowledge. So for these two gentlemen who have just kind of been, hey, now you're cybersecurity people, because they have budget constraints, they don't have the money for training. I even said to them, I said, how much of your time is spent Googling the answer? And they both kind of like laughed. And I said, come to 502. And I would present that to y'all as well, because it is so much nicer when you have a community of people that you're building that rapport with, even if it's online, that like Avi said, that you can say, hey, we're dealing with XYZ. Can anybody help me with that? And so that you start building your knowledge, but you're learning from people who are actually doing it or have done it. Any other questions? Any questions, comments, emotional outbursts? That's always my closing line. From the panel as well. Anything? Okay, well, thank y'all so much.